How's it going, y'all? My name is Aiden Anderson, and this is the Moscow Minutes. I'll be giving you the latest from the Latah County Commissioner Meetings of the week of February 13th, 2022. Before we get into this week, however, I want to bring some correction to some information we put out in a past video. Previously, in the discussion regarding increased camping fees, we conflated two issues into one issue. So just to be clear, the camping fee increase is a separate issue entirely from the 2 to 5 year extension discussion we mentioned. That discussion is about an entirely different agreement from the camping fees. So once again, there are two issues discussed that day, not one, and we'll be talking about both of those issues separately going into the future. Now, on to this week's highlights. We have a few items to bring to your attention, including upcoming signs on Latah County trails, property tax exemptions, and updates on ARPA fund commitments from the county. Let's get started. Monday's meeting began on an interesting note, because the only county commissioner who was physically there was Commissioner Dave McGraw, with Commissioner Kathy LaFortune taking some well-deserved time off in Florida, and Commissioner Tom Lamar reporting in online while visiting Washington, D.C. for the National Association of Counties Legislative Conference. Just as a point of information, in order to start this meeting, at least two of the commissioners needed to be present, whether online or in person. The first action item discussed at the Monday meeting was a request to use the official Latah County logo graphic files for some new Latah Trail signs. This request was made by members of the Latah Trail Foundation, who explained that the signage for Latah County trails in the area surrounding Troy needed to be improved. One main example that they gave was the fact that the paved bike trails in the area actually go a lot further than many people know about, and improved signage could certainly help people find those trails and therefore use and enjoy them. For those signs to be used, they need the official Latah County logo, and for the logo to be used, the county needs to approve it. The commissioners approved the use of the logo files on 3 signs that the foundation plans to put up around the Troy area. So as the weather starts to warm up, if you're out on those trails, look for those signs coming in the near future. There's a chance that they'll help you find some trails that you haven't explored yet. Moving on with the Monday meeting, there were a series of action items, including a taxpayer adjustment, some property tax exemptions, an unclaimed fund transfer request, and a liquor license renewal. Without going into too much detail, almost all of these items were approved, except for one of the property tax exemptions, which was for a fraternity, and about which the county treasurer B.J. Swanson expressed some concerns. There's been some precedent with previous exemptions that allows for this particular property to be approved for exemption, but there may be some variations in the legal structure of the property that changes things, or so B.J. Swanson was bringing up. So rather than approve or deny the tax exemption on Monday, the commissioners decided to hold off until they get a clearer picture as to what's possible regarding this property. Wednesday marked the return of Commissioner LaFortune, so all 3 commissioners were present for the discussion that day. The first action item in question was kind of a series of items together. The county has been discussing the commitment of their ARPA funds for some time, and on Wednesday, they signed the paperwork that actually commits portions of those funds to particular projects. However, a couple of those projects required further discussion by the commissioners before a commitment, or not, as the case may be, could be made. The 2 major examples of these items were the ARPA funds for the Pullman-Moscow Regional Airport and the funds for the Palouse Affordable Housing Trust, which we've mentioned in previous videos. In this case, the county committed $240,000 in ARPA funds to the airport, but they held off today from committing to the Palouse Affordable Housing Trust until they got a response from their legal team in regards to some questions about the funding that they had. Additional items on Wednesday included some property tax exemptions and the dispersal of some excess funds from a tax-deeded property sale. All of those action items were approved by the county commissioners, and with that done, they moved into a section of the agenda called the Weekly Review. Now, if you've ever been to a Moscow City Council meeting, then this section of the county agenda isn't that different from the reports that happen at the end of each city meeting. The commissioners update each other on their various goings-on throughout the past week, including any commission meetings that they've attended, any future calendar plans, and any upcoming items of note for a future agenda. A few highlights of this include Commissioner Lamar's participation in the conference in DC right now, and Commissioner LaFortune's report on the Legislative Action Committee that is closely monitoring the current session of the Idaho State Legislature. Once they finished with these reports, the meeting went off the record, which is to say, it came to an end. And that was the last from the county meetings of this past week. As always, we'll have the appropriate links posted with the video, so please check those out. And if you have any further questions, let us know. This is Aiden Anderson with the Moscow Minutes. See you next time.